Thank you so much for clicking on this video, movie peeps. Let's talk about some movie news. Some of the stuff we're going to be discussing here today, guys, is Star Wars is finally announcing movies, and this time with The Mandalorian. We got here Sony last night doing a bit of a presentation where they revealed some logos for their upcoming films, including Karate Kid and Venom 3. Some plot details for the upcoming M3GAN movie that sound rather interesting. That along with so much more, timestamps in the description. Leave your thoughts down below. First story, let's get into it. And something here I just wanted to jumping off what we talked about in the previous side flick, where it seemed like a Blumhouse executive was really hesitant to admit that we would be getting a Five Nights at Freddy's sequel. Well, good old Josh Hutcherson. That keeps happening every time I say the man's name. He was recently doing an interview, and he's not afraid to hide it, that they're definitely working on a sequel for Five Nights at Freddy's. He said here exactly, they're in the process right now of nailing down the story, and they want to get going as soon as possible, says Josh Hutcherson. Again, it should be no secret, I still am wondering why that Blumhouse executive was like, nah, movie's not greenlit, I'm not sure if we're doing it, when everyone else involved, all of them have been saying, yeah, they're working on it, they're doing exciting stuff, the script is coming through. I just gotta imagine they're just working hard on it, wanting to make sure it's extra good this time, so that way both the fans and casual audience members can maybe get into it a little bit. And part of me wonders if they just weren't expecting it to be this big of a mega hit box office wise, you know, because they kind of made the first one off pennies, and now they're like, oh, if this thing has the potential to make 300 million, let's double our budget and kind of go all out then. But I throw it off to you guys. Why do you think Blumhouse is not willing to say that the movie's happening, but all the stars are saying, yeah, they're working on it? I mean, Josh Hutcherson... Let's just get on to the next story. Moving on here, we have Tom Cruise saving the movie industry once again. The man is unstoppable. It was just revealed by Variety today that Tom Cruise has signed a deal with Warner Brothers to develop and produce original and franchise films. In the article, they detail here that Tom Cruise has actually partnered up with Warner Brothers' David Zaslav, and he will be working hard to not only make some original movies, things that we haven't really seen done before, but also star in franchise films. And that immediately started fans going. Space Jam 3 with Tom Cruise. Scooby-Doo featuring Tom Cruise. We know they're working on a Harry Potter reboot. Make Tom Cruise Harry Potter. And you know, this is kind of a big deal right now in Hollywood. We heard so many people in Hollywood are avoiding working with Warner Brothers just because they don't know the future of the company, whether they want to write off a movie for tax purposes or just shady business practices, throw their stars under the bus. Tom Cruise, being one of the biggest movie stars, partnering with them adds some good faith. Now, it should be noted, part of the agreement says that Tom Cruise is still allowed to make movies with other studios if he pleases, so he's still going to finish making the Mission Impossible franchise, but now that he's got his deal with Warner Brothers, I'm thinking this next Mission Impossible movie has to be the last one. And also, just to bring it up, because I know I'm going to get some comments about it, I don't think this means we should expect Tom Cruise in a DC movie anytime soon. The article makes it very clear this partnership is with Warner Brothers, and while yes, Warner Brothers owns DC, this deal says that Tom Cruise will be working with people like Michael DeLuca and Pam Addy, who used to make some decisions for DC and whatnot, but that's all separate now. So don't think we're going to start seeing Tom Cruise pop up in the DCU, because this feels more like Warner Brothers is wanting to make their own franchises aside from their superhero stuff. And as much as I dislike Warner Brothers right now, I really do love Tom Cruise. I think he's just put out amazing film after amazing film. It's rarely a bad time when I go see a Tom Cruise movie, so hopefully he can bring some good films to Warner Brothers. I'm just kind of more curious what these original film ideas are. Any guesses? Let me know down below. Next up here, we had kind of a big announcement for Star Wars fans, and you know it's big if I'm talking about it, because we rarely talk Star Wars here. Today, Star Wars themselves came out and announced that The Mandalorian will not be continuing with a season 4 on Disney Plus, because instead, he'll be getting his own movie alongside Grogu. The details of this announcement say that Jon Favreau will be the director of this movie that is titled The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's set to go into production later this year, and well, that's kind of surprising. Kind of came out of nowhere, but I do think it's a smart decision. The Mandalorian and Grogu stuff, I think, is arguably some of the best stuff to come out of Disney Star Wars. I mean, I know I absolutely loved season 1. I really enjoyed season 2, and well, season 3 is where the show kind of lost me. A lot of that was because they started doing the interconnected universe Marvel thing, where I had to go watch a season of Boba Fett and then get into Ahsoka, know a little history about Rebels and some characters showing up in there. it made me not that excited to continue on with the show. And that's honestly my biggest worry or hope for the Mandalorian movie, is that it stands on its own 2 feet, that it feels like you don't have to do this homework, you just have to know the basic idea of who Mando and Grogu is, and you're set off for a cool adventure. Because even as Marvel fans, we can agree, the homework we have to do with these Disney Plus shows is getting a little tedious, and it's not even that fun anymore. I'd hate for Star Wars to kind of fall down that route, although I feel like they've been kind of in it for a little bit. But I am optimistic of this opportunity. I think it could be really fun. It also makes sense with Pedro Pascal just being kind of a megastar right now. Of course, they would want to capitalize on that. And now we know of 2 Star Wars movies that are for sure happening. You know, we have the Rey Solo movie that's set to be coming soon, and now this Mandalorian movie. Star Wars is starting to gear back up, and in a time where it feels like superhero movies are dying, can Star Wars fill in that gap, or not really? I don't know. I'm curious to hear from you diehard Star Wars fans. You hear Mandalorian movies happening? Is it exciting, or is it like, their time has passed? Curious to where you guys stand on this. I'm also curious about the weird comments I'm about to get since I just talked Star Wars. Oh, there. Kathleen Kennedy photo with red eyes. Classic. Bring me here some rumored plot details concerning M3GAN 2. You guys know I'm a big fan of killer doll movies, and M3GAN was a breakout hit that I was pleasantly surprised with last year, and once they told us this is a franchise now, we're gonna be making sequels, I said, boy, go ahead and do it. The details here come from Critical Overlord, who's gotten stuff right in the past, who says M3GAN 2 is rumored to introduce a second doll named Amelia. The doll shares the same code with M3GAN. He then continues on by adding M3GAN 2 is rumored to turn the titular doll babyface. The doll would try to protect Gemma and Katie against rumored newcomer Amelia. And that right there is kind of interesting for the direction they're heading in with M3GAN. Right now, the possibilities were like extremely open. You could go kind of in a stereotypical way and follow in the footsteps of what like maybe Chucky did with his series and make her a real threat. That felt like the obvious way, but here with them mentioning she's going babyface, which I recently found out is a wrestling term, my dumb butt thought they were about to turn M3GAN into a baby doll, and I was like, that's a choice. But apparently the term going babyface is a wrestling term from when a wrestler that was usually known as a bad guy turns into a good guy. And so fans looking at this plot are now really comparing M3GAN 1 and 2 to like what happened in Terminator 1 and 2, where Arnold Schwarzenegger was the bad guy in the first movie. He was the deadly robot, and then come the second film, he was the protector. And it looks like that's what will be happening with M3GAN 2. We'll see her kind of switch from more of the evil doll to then wanting to protect her best friend. I'm also liking the idea of introducing a second doll. That seemed like an obvious thing to do, naming it Amelia, already having the thing with the 3, just like in the name M3GAN. And if you go back and watch this first M3GAN movie, they did kind of set it up in the background that this could happen, because the robotic toy company that made M3GAN said that there was a mole in their company stealing all their ideas, and then a ripoff brand would make them. There was a point in the movie where a character stole the coding of M3GAN and most likely got to sell it to the rival toy company that'll now be coming out with their own version of M3GAN, Amelia. So yeah, M3GAN 2 is basically looking like Terminator 2, where it's robot doll against robot doll. Could be a lot of fun. Just imagining the dance-off they could have, that's gonna make the sequel worth it alone. But that is the rumored plot right now. Things could maybe change if this turns out being the official plot. How do you guys feel about it? Then bringing me to talk about this small presentation that Sony had last night at CES 2. This is kind of like the tech convention, and Sony was mainly showing off how they have a car that you can drive with a PS5 controller now. Pretty sweet, till, you know, your nephew gets his hands on that, then it's GTA in real life. But during that presentation, they also talked about what they have upcoming in the movie sphere, where they revealed some logos for upcoming films they'll be releasing in 2024. Looking at them here, we've already seen the logos for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Kraven the Hunter, and Madam Web. But then they also gave us a look at the Bad Boys 4 logo. And I'm still curious if they're just going to be titling this one Bad Boys 4, because they wasted their best title with Bad Boys 3, calling that one Bad Boys for Life. That should have been the 4th movie. This one could, I guess, be called Bad Boys Forever. You know, cliche, but it's a classic. Then we got revealed the first logo for their Karate Kid movie releasing this year, on my most anticipated list of this year too, by the way. And they took Justin Timberlake's advice from The Social Network.
Drop the.
And instead of calling it The Karate Kid, it's just Karate Kid. Very modern, very nice, I like it. What I do like from this logo though is instead of having like Daniel-san do the crane kick or having a bonsai tree representing the Miyagi logo, they have like a New York City skyline. The last plot premise that we heard from this movie is that a kid from China who was the student of Mr. Han, Jackie Chan's character, comes to America in New York and is then gonna train a middle-aged man with a pizza shop in New York how to fight. I know some people hate that plot, but I feel like it has potential. Who knows if they decided to change it though once they announced Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Han will be in the movie together. But so far, I like the logo. Pretty cool, exciting, can't wait for this movie. And then we have the first look of the logo for Venom 3. Not much to go off of what we can expect from this movie. This film is still shrouded in so much mystery. And you know, fans have even started bringing up that they doubt it'll be called Venom 3 since the last movie had a tagline, Venom Let There Be Carnage. The most popular tagline I've seen fans thrown out there is Venom Lethal Protector, which was one of the names of his comic series. And I feel like, yeah, that would be kind of a cool title. But man, I just need to know the plot of what Venom 3 is, because you teased Spider-Man and Venom, and we know that's not happening. Those chances are out the window. I really hope the rumored plot of Venom meeting a 10-year-old Peter Parker and having a mentor relationship isn't true, because that just sounds awful to me. I kind of just like the theories that, you know, Tom Hardy's Venom is just going to stay in Mexico. There's like a werewolf or some sort of creature out there, and he protects a small pueblo in Mexico. That fits with the Lethal Protector line. But then we also have to deal with the toxin situation, the character they set up in the last movie, but I do not want Venom fighting another symbiote for the third time. We have fans real ambitious and crazy throwing out like Andrew Garfield's gonna show up, Noel is gonna be the villain. I'm like, guys, this is Sony. They brought us more. You think they're gonna give us Noel? No! I don't know, man, but it was just cool to see these logos and be like, hey, movies, exciting, fun. We like that. Let me know what you guys think about some of these logos and your ideas for the movies. But that is all movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.